Ayubowan, Vanakkam. I'm Vayoni Dimel. This is Boston Lanka News, bringing you news, views and entertainment from Boston and USA. The university students continue to protest. Government gets tough. Why UNP is not effective? Ranayake response. Ranjan Ramanayake was arrested. Any connection to the 18th Amendment? Ever popular Sri Lankan singing couple in Boston. The universities in Sri Lanka are in the news again. Sri Lankan government vows to crack down on student protests. Several faculties in Peradeniya University, Ruhuna University and Kelaniya University have been closed. Why? What are the reasons behind all these developments? President Mahinda Rajapaksa met with the vice-chancellors of all the universities at the Temple Trees last week to take steps to restore normal functions in the universities. Udul Premaratne, the convener of the Inter-University Student Federation, was arrested on October 29th. The Inter-University Students Federation has vowed to continue their protests against the government plans to privatize the university education. Boston Lanka will be exploring some of these issues in the coming weeks. According to some political analysts, the United National Party, losing one election after another, has lost its effectiveness as a strong opposition and alternative government. Today, the UNP is divided and struggling with internal conflicts. Many in the party calls for its leader Ranil Wickremesinghe to step down from the leadership. Boston Lanka asked UNP parliamentary member Rosi Senanayake about the UNP and its role. Mrs. Senanayake, many are of the opinion that the UNP, the main opposition party in Sri Lanka, due to its many internal conflicts, is not fulfilling its role effectively in Sri Lanka. What do you have to say to that?
I totally disagree with that question, because the main opposition is very effectively playing national politics at this particular time. I am a member of the main opposition. I am here right now to support the protest, because I think we owe it to General Fonseca. First of all, he was our common candidate at the presidential election. So therefore, the UNP owes it to General Fonseca to make sure that he's been released. And we will be in this fight until General Fonseca is released. And at the same time, when it comes to national issues, maybe the 18th Amendment, it was the UNP that vehemently and vociferously opposed the 18th Amendment, and we basically abstained from Parliament, and we protested with the people against the 18th Amendment, and we've done a lot of advocacy with regard to making the people know exactly the danger and how detrimental this 18th Amendment was and is. UNP is playing national politics. Our internal issues are internal matters, and that has no hindrance with regard to national issues at all.
Do you support if Sarath Fonseca decides to join the UNP? In what capacity you want him to join, and what kind of a role you think he could play in the party?
Actually, I have to be very clear here. When the general elections were announced, when Parliament was dissolved and the general elections were announced, At that particular time, the leader of the UNP, Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, invited General Sarath Fonseca to contest under the UNP ticket. But it is General Fonseca who decided to go otherwise and contest under the DNA ticket and to form his own party together with the JVP. So we have invited him to join the party and he declined it. So it is, his prerogative to basically decide whether he wants to join the UNP or not. We have many times invited him to come on board with the UNP, but basically he has remained as the leader of the DNA. And that is for him to decide, and it is for the party leader to decide what kind of position that he should give in case he would like to join the UNP.
Mrs. Senanayake, you have recently said that what Sri Lanka needs is a fresh constitution and not patches and plasters, responding to the 18th Amendment. Could you please elaborate on that?
Yes, I think that's exactly what I was trying to explain. Bring a little amendments like the 18th Amendment just for certain parties to stay in power, playing petty political power games, and changing the constitution so that one person or one group can stay in power, instead of basically changing the constitution that can make our beautiful island, as it was once, a peaceful nation, and a nation that could basically be an example to the rest of the world. Because as our indicators show, maybe with regard to education or health, Sri Lanka is basically up there. Sri Lanka is a model country. So let's use these indicators, these resources, and maybe we need to, at this particular time, change the constitution with regard to bring about a solution where all people, we have to remember that Sri Lanka is a multinational, multi-religious, multicultural country. And realizing this factor, let's bring about a constitution that would help everyone with regard to people's nationalism, with regard to people's dignity, with regard to people's equality, and with regard to people's power sharing. Me as a woman, I would say when I talk about equality, power sharing, I'm talking about the woman as well. Giving women due respect, giving women dignity and power sharing and equality. All this can be brought in with a new constitution. And the new constitution can also bring about a change with regard to development.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Senanayake, for joining with us. Actor turned politician Ranjan Ramanayake was bailed out by the Kandy court last week. According to Mr. Ramanayake, if he had supported the government on the 18th Amendment, he would not have to face any of these legal issues. Namal Vijayaratne, 42-year-old female school teacher from the Katugastota Rahula Mahavidyalaya, has filed a complaint against the Ratnapura district UNP MP and film star Ranjan Ramanayake that he had taken rupees 1 million from her on the promise of marriage. Boston Lanka spoke to Mrs. Rosie Senanayake about a recent news article on Ranjan Ramanayake. Mrs. Senanayake, according to a report published by Lanka News Web, it was your sister Sandra who had given the tips to the CID to arrest UNP MP Ranjan Ramanayake. Is there any truth to this news story?
Yes, I must say that's a diabolical lie. It's a fabricated story. First of all, my sister doesn't know Ranjan Ramanayake personally. She don't know about his whereabouts. And even if she knew, she was not going to be a person who would, go and leak out something like that, because they live very quiet lives. They're not in the limelight and they don't like the limelight to begin with. And besides, I think if you just check with the CID, you will know exactly how they found out where he lives. So I think that is a matter for the CID to basically report, and not the Lankai News. And the Lankai News has always been basically creating fabricated stories with regard to UNP members, and also trying to bring in conflict among the UNPers. And I strongly believe that this is also the agenda of the government, to split the United National Party, to bring conflict among party members.
Thank you, Mrs. Ramanayake. Internationally renowned Sri Lankan singing couple will be in Boston on November 6th.
So much powerful officer's daughter, hanged and died my small lady. So much powerful officer's daughter, hanged and died my small lady.
Can you remember those voices? Yes, ever popular Sri Lankan singing couple Eranga and Prianga, who resides in New York, have won the hearts of musical lovers not only in Sri Lanka but all over the world. They have the capability of singing songs not only in Sinhala, Tamil and English but from some other international languages as well. Eranga and Prianga will present their program of international songs, an explosion of sound, style and class to a Sri Lankan and American audience. That concludes our news edition. We meet you again with another news edition of news, views and entertainment from Boston and USA. Till then, goodbye.